Crystal.
Nice to meet you.
So excited to meet you.
Thanks for having me today.
Oh, I'm thrilled. Excited to see your brain.
I'm nervous. I know something's wrong, but I just don't know what.
That's our job.
Yeah,
We'll go find out. So thank you for doing this.
Thank you.
I'm really excited to help. So tell me your goal.
Well, first off, I'm so grateful to come across you. I found you on social media. I think what you're doing is incredible. I've had a really hard time recently, diagnosed with many health conditions. I feel kind of like a shell of my former self. As most people know, I lived in the Playboy mansion for 10 years and that was hard. So I know there's something, but I just don't know what. I guess to have more clarity, find out what's going on, try and help myself. And, I feel like my brain, like my life and myself over time is kind of caving in rather than expanding. I don't know what's going on.
I'm so happy you're here because I think this is going to help you.
Thank you. Nervous.
So issues with anxiety, brain fog, and sleep has been a significant problem.
I have a new thing that in the middle of the night, I'll just wake up sheer out of nowhere. I'm like, I'm going to die. Like out of nowhere. I'm going to die. Got to go to the hospital. Been to the hospital. And that's kind of more of a new one.
People go, wow, obviously it was this emotionally stressful environment. So we probably agree that your marriage to Hef was emotionally
it was hard.
Stressful.
It was
and probably awesome in some ways too.
Yeah, in some ways it was awesome, but in a lot of ways it was like, I don't know, dictatorship. It's like you either go along with everything or I don't know what else, because I never went against the grain. So you're always on edge. You're always. So I think that's also why I'm very
mold exposure.
Oh my gosh.
And I wrote this Playboy Mansion because it's been there forever. And where do you think you were exposed to mold?
The Playboy Mansion.
So that was a good connection.
Yeah. The Playboy Mansion. Because of me, Playboy had to do a $2.5 million mold remediation, the mansion. I shared a room with Hef, but I had my own section that they called the vanity. So that's where I hung out most of the time. You think this big house, but I was mostly in this room. My doctor suggested to test for mold. They were being weird about it. So I brought my own person in. He went with a flashlight and all the vents. He's like, there's mold everywhere. There's fungus. And these vents are right above where you've been sitting in the last 8 years.
Well, it really wasn't in a lot of people's consciousness.
Mm-mm.
But when I started looking at scans 30 years ago, some of them just looked toxic and they weren't drinkers or drug users. And I'm like, why is that? And mold was a very common cause. But if you don't test, you don't know. And then people struggle with anxiety, with depression, with brain fog, because mold causes inflammation in the brain. And so already we have mold and a concussion and Lyme. So just trying to understand why you may be struggling.
Yeah.
Tell me your story.
Lost my dad when I was 12. When you're that young, it's something that kind of just becomes a part of you as you get older. He just loved me so much and I loved him so much. He was like my rock. And me being told to tell him it's okay to go, it's okay, it's okay. So here I am holding my dad's hand as a 12-year-old, saying it's okay for you to leave us, it's okay. As an adult, that's heartbreaking to think back to. It was really hard. Finally, I met my high school boyfriend. We had the same birthday. He was my best friend. It was oh my gosh, this is kind of the feelings of having a rock. And then when I was 18, something like that, he joined the army and he was killed in Afghanistan.
How heartbreaking.
And yeah, that was hard too.
How soon after you started modeling for Playboy did you and Hef connect?
I was in my last semester at San Diego State, and one of my friends that I did some modeling with, she suggested I submit a photo to go to a party at the Playboy Mansion. They'll never pick me. It's so insecure, still. Some of the most beautiful, amazing people I've ever met are like the most insecure.
I have that same experience.
Oh my gosh. It's hard.
I've had these amazing people, and their predominant thought is I'm not enough. And I'm like, well, then everybody else is screwed.
It's true. It's crazy. But I submitted a photo. I got accepted. Went up to the Playboy mansion in my French maid outfit. I had gotten breast implants at some point around then. So I was like all ready to go in my, had bleached my hair. So I was platinum with implants. Like, okay, the perfect, stereotype. So I went up to the party. Hef looks over, and my friend's like going like this. So Hef looks over, and then looks at me, and I was like, hi. And then he asked me to come in to the cabana. I was so nervous. And then he offered me to stay over for the weekend. And so I said, yeah. And, I've heard of all the rumors. I heard Playboy, some of these are the most beautiful women in the world, but I also heard like Hef has 7 girlfriends and whatever. And I didn't know what that weekend involved, but it's like, sure, whatever. Nothing I haven't done before. So I was there for the weekend. And then after the weekend, I went back to San Diego, got a voicemail. The voicemail was like, hello, Crystal, this is Hugh Hefner. Call me back, basically. Called him back, and he invited me to move in. So I'm like,
He invited you to move in.
He invited me to move in
just
after the first week.
Wow.
It wasn't healthy, like the whole thing. Here's a man who's 60 years older than me. He seemed youthful, and he said it's because he surrounds himself by youthful people and young people's laughter.
It's a good line.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah.
Well, he's a historic figure.
Yeah, it was like an American icon at the time, right?
Yeah.
Still? I don't know.
Still. Every teenage boy and young male's fantasy is that he lived their life until you really start living it. And then it's more complicated.
Yeah. Yeah. And now there's things that I'm still healing from that I didn't even realize at the time, like messed me up pretty bad.
Changed you. Maybe that's a better way to put it.
Things changed me.
Because I imagine you had experiences that helped you grow, and then you had other experiences that brought you pain.
Yeah, absolutely.
Want to see your scans?
No, I'm so scared. I never even knew something like this existed before you. I never even knew. And of all the doctors and all the things, so I'm very grateful, but I'm very scared. But yes, I would love to see the scans.
So we do a study called SPECT, and SPECT looks at blood flow and activity. It looks at how your brain works and basically shows us 3 things: good activity, too little, or too much. And then my job is to balance it. If it's low in activity, I want to find a way to stimulate it. And if it's high in activity, I want to find a way to calm it down. All right, so here's your scan.
Oh man, there's a hole. There's one.
Well,
oh my God.
Why I asked you if you had ADD is your frontal lobes right here are a little bit sleepy. And that tends to go with focus and forethought and judgment and impulse control. And as you filled the checklist, you said impulsivity can be sort of an issue for you. And like Hef says, move in, and you move in. Now, I understand he's powerful, but
yeah. I think if I had a different brain, maybe if I had a different brain and different upbringing, I would have questioned things a little more, but now I can understand.
Yeah. Well, it all goes together, right?
Yeah.
It's not just brain, and it's not just mind. I always think of people in 4 big circles. Well, what's the biology? That's your brain. Well, what's the psychology? That's your development and the quality of your thoughts. What's the social circle? And you had lost your dad, you had lost your boyfriend. There was like big losses there, and he's a powerful guy that can make up for some of those. Mm. And then there's a spiritual circle, which is, well, why the heck do you care about all of it? what's your deepest sense of meaning in this?
Yeah.
And this is just the brain part. So we look down from the top, you're not getting Alzheimer's disease. You have a lot of great brain activity. You have a lot of great brain activity.
Oh, wow.
But it could be better here in the front.
Okay.
And if you do what I ask you to do, 4 months from now, we can get them to look like that.
Whoa.
So it's not dead. It's not broken.
Whoa.
It's just sleepy.
What's the hole?
The hole means there's less blood flow to this part of the brain right here. But the really important image for you is going to be this one.
Whoa.
But you also have what we call here the diamond pattern. So this is where I said you worry and you probably hold grudges. And if things don't go a certain way, it makes you mad.
Absolutely. If someone wronged me 15 years ago, I probably still don't talk to them. That's awful. I know.
And you're anxious and sad. And when we put this together, it's a diamond. It looks like a diamond pattern.
Wow.
Because your thoughts are hard on you.
Oh, it's torture in here every day. It's torture.
That's your default.
Yeah.
Your default is to hurt you.
Mm-hmm.
And I want your default to learn to help.
Yeah, I love that.
Are you being a good coach or a good mom? Or are you being a bad coach or a bad mom?
Yeah, I'm ready to be a good coach.
You want to be a good
mom
coach.
so that eventually I could be a good mom to a child.
Right. And so it's like, well, would I ever talk to my child like this? Or would I ever talk to my best friend like this? Because you wouldn't have any friends if you talked to them like you talk to yourself.
Right. I think I know a lot of people that could use help and tools, and especially the mansion. A lot of us were just, I'm trying to say something good about it too, but a lot of us were broken, to end up kind of in there. It's kind of, I don't know.
Do you know you have mental health stuff in your family? So you have to sort of be, we call them brain warriors. You got to be armed and prepared and aware to be strong because you have that vulnerability, as does 50% of the population, right? I always say if you struggle with a mental health challenge, welcome to normal. 51% of the population will have a mental health challenge at some point in their life. And now with the pandemic, it's probably over 60. If I put you on a supplement regimen, would you try it?
Absolutely, yeah. I would.
Multiple vitamin, high dose, high quality fish oil, and a brain boost. That should help your memory.
Wow, okay.
Serotonin, mood support to raise serotonin. It's got saffron and 5-HTP. And then something that most people wouldn't expect, something to help you focus. And I think that combination is going to balance your brain. It's going to stimulate it and calm it. So balance it and then give it a bunch of nutrients. And I think let's do that.
Sounds good to me. You've given me a lot of tools. It's very, very helpful.
I want to help supervise you being well.
Thank you. Yes. And I want to help other people, spread
and if you
your message.
go home and do this, we'll schedule the follow-up and we'll go, okay, how are we doing?
Yeah.
And if you do what I ask you to do, odds are it's going to be a whole bunch better.
Yeah.